She carries it alone, a fight the world refuses to see. Taki does not fight for applause, not for honor, not for victory. She fights to hold back a darkness the world would rather forget exists. Every movement, every breath, every choice is another brick in the wall she carries. Every day is the same challenge, and yet the stakes are eternal. As philosopher Simone Weil once wrote, attention is the rarest, purest form of generosity. Taki embodies this principle. Her life is not about spectacle, but about consistent, careful attention to forces that could disrupt everything if left unchecked. For Taki, this isn't philosophy, it's a description of her life. There is no final battle, no lasting victory, no applause. The work itself, the constant vigilance and careful containment of forces like Soul Edge is what gives her life meaning. Her purpose isn't the outcome, it's the act of maintaining order, day after day, without recognition. Her existence is not measured in victories, but in the spaces where disaster does not happen, the silence between events, the quiet that only she maintains. And that silence is not peace, it is vigilance, isolation, and endurance made flesh. Taki doesn't have the kind of life most people have. There isn't really room for her to think about herself. She's not doing it for anyone, she's doing it because it has to be done. And still, she keeps going, because what she does is bigger than her. Because if she stops, even for a second, whatever she's containing will slip through. Her identity isn't her name, it isn't in her past, it isn't even in her body. Her identity is the wall she holds up, and that wall is all that matters. Taki's work doesn't stop. She has to notice everything, every movement, every change in her environment, every possible threat. That's the part of what makes her effective, but it also makes her life very structured. There is no room for distractions, no time to relax. Even when she's not actively fighting, she's observing, planning, and preparing. Her attention is constant. It shapes how she moves, how she reacts, and how she thinks. Other people can afford to forget, to take breaks, to let small things slide. Taki can't. Missing even a small detail could be a serious problem. This constant focus isn't just mental, it affects her daily life and routines. Her training, her movements, even her rest are all built around maintaining that attention. It's exhausting, but it's necessary. Her mind is always active, always scanning, and that's what allows her to do her job effectively. In short, Taki's discipline is her defining tool. It's not about being perfect or heroic. It's about consistently doing the work that her role requires. Her vigilance shapes everything she does. Taki's life can be compared to the story of Sisyphus. In the myth, Sisyphus is forced to push a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down every time. There is no final victory, no end to the task, just repetition. For Taki, her work is similar. She contains forces that must never escape, and there is no ultimate conclusion to her duty. Every day presents the same type of challenge, and even when she succeeds, the task remains. One clear example is the recurring conflict between Soul Edge and Soul Calibur, the cursed and holy swords at the heart of the series. Soul Edge corrupts, spreads chaos, and resurfaces repeatedly, while Soul Calibur opposes it, appearing only in fragments or in different hands across time. Taki's mission is to track and contain these forces. She fights against Soul Edge, knows that Soul Calibur is just as bad as Soul Edge, witnesses the clashes between the two swords, and works to limit the damage. But the cycle never ends. Even after victory, the threat remains in another form, and the work starts over. This comparison isn't about drama, it's about understanding the structure of her life. The Sisyphus parallel shows how her work is defined by ongoing effort rather than outcomes. She doesn't act for recognition or reward. Her routines, her vigilance, her discipline, all of it exists because the threat is perpetual. Taki's life is defined by repetition, but it's a repetition that carries meaning. Her actions prevent disasters that no one else can stop. Taki's work separates her from others. She can't afford casual connections because her focus and responsibilities are constant. Most people can live their lives without thinking about cursed swords or ancient conflicts, but Taki has to. That makes normal relationships difficult. She can't share her burdens, and few would understand them even if she tried. The recurring threat of Soul Edge and the ongoing clash of Soul Calibur reinforce this isolation. Every time the cursed sword reappears, her attention and energy are required. Even temporary victories are short-lived because the conflict continues elsewhere. Unlike other characters who can step back, she's expected to act continuously. That exception limits her ability to participate in ordinary social life. Her isolation isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional. She experiences stress and pressure that no one else around her fully recognizes. She can't fully relax, and she can't delegate responsibility. The work defines her routine, her priorities, and even her sense of self. At the same time, her isolation is part of what makes her effective. By not relying on others, she avoids distractions and ensures that her focus remains on containing the threats of Soul Edge and Soul Calibur. It's a trade-off: social connection and personal comfort versus the safety and stability of the world around her. When other characters make choices that risk corruption, delay action, or act out of personal desire, Taki shows the consequences of commitment and responsibility. She demonstrates what it takes to maintain stability, even when the stakes are high and recognition is absent. Her existence highlights human limits: how much one person can carry, how much attention can be sustained, and how much isolation shapes identity. At the same time, she is also a reminder that no one is truly invincible. Despite her skills and discipline, the recurring chaos of Soul Edge and the ongoing battles with Soul Calibur prove that even the most capable individuals cannot end certain conflicts alone. Taki's work is ongoing, and that reality underscores both her effectiveness and her limitations. By observing her, it becomes clear that heroism is not just about victory or fame. It's about consistency, responsibility, and endurance, qualities that most people experience in smaller ways in their own lives. Taki magnifies these traits, showing their value and the cost in extreme form. Her weapons are part of that. She uses Rekimaru, a sword she made herself and charged with spiritual energy, and Mekimaru, a blade that has a piece of soul edge in it. She handles them carefully. Rekimaru is her main tool, something she can rely on. Mekimaru reminds her that her fight is never truly finished. In her world, danger is always coming. Soul Edge doesn't stay gone, and neither does the work. So her routines, her training, her swords, they're all functional, not ceremonial. They let her do the job when no one else can. That's what ritual means for Taki: staying ready, staying sharp, and keeping control over things when most people wouldn't even notice. Taki's work doesn't really end. Soul Edge always comes back in one shape or form. Soul Calibur shows up to counter it, and the world keeps spinning while she's doing the same work. It's not dramatic, it's just how her life is. She reacts, contains, fights, and prepares again. That's the pattern, that's the rhythm. And it doesn't matter how skilled she is or how well she succeeds, the next threat is always waiting. This repetition shapes how she sees time. One mission blends into the next. One day feels like the last, only slightly different. There's no clear start or finish, no big finale to mark success. The temporal aspect also explains her focus and discipline. If she ever relaxed completely, the work would just pile up or slip away. That's why her attention, her training, and her routines are constant. She's not obsessing, she's just maintaining order in a world that doesn't pause. Taki doesn't fight for glory or recognition, and she fights because someone has to. Her life makes you think about what purpose really means. For her, it's not about finishing the job or getting credit. The point is just doing it, stopping evil, keeping things in balance. That's the meaning. Most people can handle responsibility in bits and pieces. Taki has it all the time. That's what makes her situation different. Her duty is constant, and it shapes everything she does. You can see why it's isolating, why it's consuming. It's not heroic in a storybook sense. It's not about winning or losing. It's about knowing that some work needs doing, even if no one else notices. That's what gives her life structure. That's what gives it meaning. Watching Taki's life, a few things stand out. First, responsibility isn't always visible. Most people never see the work she does or the threats she contains. That doesn't make it any less important. Second, consistency matters more than heroics. Taki isn't just about flashy victories. She's about showing up, day after day, and doing what needs to be done. The world depends on that kind of quiet reliability, even if no one notices. Third, focus and preparation have real consequences. The way she trains, the way she uses her swords, the way she keeps her routines, it's all practical. Every small detail matters, and it all adds up over time. Finally, her story reminds us that some struggles never end. Not every story has a final resolution. That doesn't mean effort is meaningless. It means the act of maintaining order, of doing your part, can have its own kind of purpose. In short, Taki shows that meaningful work doesn't have to be recognized, that discipline has value, and that vigilance and commitment shape not just outcomes, but who we are. Taki's life is defined by vigilance and responsibility. She acts quietly, without recognition, against dangers most people never notice. Every day brings the same challenges, and even when she succeeds, the work doesn't end. That's just how her life works: containment, preparation, and repetition. Albert Camus once wrote, "The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy." That fits Taki perfectly. Her mission may never have a final victory, Soul Edge keeps returning, new threats arise, and the cycle continues. But that act of doing the work, keeping the world safe, is what gives her life meaning. It's not about recognition or reward, it's about purpose in the struggle itself. Her routines, her training, her swords, and the constant vigilance all exist for that reason. The work is unending, but it isn't meaningless. It's the effort itself that matters. And so we must ask, when no one else sees the struggle, who decides whether or not it was worth it or not?